Jean? Show's really starting. That would be important to do. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We gather together at times like this because we know deep inside of us, we feel that whenever one of us, anywhere, Colorado Springs, Cape Town, New York City, Kyiv, whenever anyone, anywhere, is a victim of violence, injustice, or oppression, each of us everywhere experiences that violence, injustice, and oppression indirectly. And we come together because we know, we feel, we're compelled, we need to share with one another, to share our grief, to share our strengths, to share our struggles, to share our support, and to share our solidarity. We come because we grieve and we want to hope. Sometimes we march, sometimes we write letters, sometimes we lobby, sometimes we hold signs on busy street corners. Tonight, we grieve. Tonight, we vigil. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing yourselves and for being yourselves and for joining together in community.
I told you these things for a purpose, that my joy might be your joy, and your joy wholly mature. This is my command. Love one another the way I loved you. This is the very best way to love. Put your life on the line for your friends. You are my friends when you do the things I command you. I'm no longer calling you servants because servants don't understand what their master is thinking and planning. No, I've named you friends because I've let you in on everything I've heard from the Father. You didn't choose me. Remember, I chose you and put you in the world to bear fruit, fruit that won't spoil. As fruit bearers, whatever you ask the Father in relation to me, he gives you. But remember the root command. Love one another. John 15, 11 through 17. The Message. U.S. Navy Petty Officer, 2nd Class Thomas James, issued a statement from his hospital bed where he is still recovering from injuries that have not been made public. He is reportedly in stable condition. And his message was clear. Do not let hate win. I simply wanted to save the family I found. If I had my way, I would shield everyone I could from the nonsensical acts of hate in the world, but I am only one person. Thankfully, we are family, and family looks after one another. We came a long way from Stonewall. Bullies aren't invincible. I want to support everyone who has known the pain and loss that have been all too common these past few years. My thoughts are with those we lost on November 19 and those who are still recovering from their injuries. To the youth, I say, be brave. Your family is out there. You are loved and valued. So when you come out of the closet, come out swinging. Army veteran Rich Fierro was at Club Q with his wife Jess, his daughter Cassie, and Cassie's boyfriend Raymond to support one of Cassie's friends who was performing in the drag show that evening. It was the first time Rich Fierro had ever attended a drag show. The Fierros were there as allies who have long supported the LGBTQ community in Colorado Springs, a community that is rife with conservatives and evangelicals. Rich Fierro, who has been hailed as a hero for his actions, he was the one who tackled the gunman and called on Petty Officer James and a third unidentified hero to help. When the gunman opened fire at the LGBTQ club, Fierro's long-suppressed instincts as a platoon leader surged back to life. Fierro, who served 4 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan and had struggled with PTSD, left the military to not have to go into combat mode anymore. He raced across the room and pinned the gunman down with help from James, who quickly moved the rifle from arm's reach. People on social media were hailing Fierro as a hero, but Fierro told a reporter from the New York Times, "I'm just a dude." The third hero, a transgender woman, remains unidentified. When Fierro saw Petty Officer James beginning to tire, he called on the woman to help, and without hesitation or question, she did. Fierro remains humble about his actions. For both Fierro and James, saving their friends and family served as motivation for confronting the alleged gunman whose name will not be spoken here. I was trying to protect my family. At that point, the family was everybody in that room, Fierro said in an interview with News Nation. Nobody wants to see anyone get hurt. There are some things you don't think about, you just do, Fierro added. I think many parents have the same reaction regardless of whether it's this kind of threat. Parents go into action. When you're at an event or a club or a mall or a store or just walking down the street or even right here in this sanctuary, it's unlikely that you'll know everyone present. And yet, these 2 men and that young trans woman, no one in that room, to these 2 men and that young trans woman, no one in that room except the gunman was a stranger. Every person had worth, was valued, was family, and was loved. The Fierros own a brewery called Atrevidas. Atrevidos is Spanish for daring. Lord, in your mercy, in your graciousness, in your name, may we all be as Atrevidos, daring, in our willingness to put ourselves on the line for family, friend, and stranger, as these 3 people were, and as you were to put yourself on the cross for us. In your holy name, amen. Crow's going to read the names, and I'm going to bring the candlelight to you all rather than having it at church.
I'll be reading the names of the 5 victims of the Club Q shooting. The first victim is Daniel Davis Aston, who was a 28-year-old, and he was a bartender at Club Q. The next name is Kelly Loving. Kelly was 40. That's all we really know about Kelly. The third victim is Derek Rum. He was 38 years old. And that's also what we know about Derek. Ashley Powell. Says that her husband was also there. Raymond Green Vance. He went to the show with his girlfriend, parents, and her parents, his girlfriend's parents. And they were celebrating a birthday at this drag show. There isn't much I can say to make it not sad. But it's important to remember those people as members of our community, or at least we know they were members that supported the LGBTQ community. And the tragedy that happened in them. So we're going to take a little moment of silence to just reflect. Thank you for that moment of silence. Now, we're opening the floor to any stories or feelings or discussion anyone wants to talk about. You can blow out your candles if you'd like. I'll start with a question. Can someone tell me how this makes them feel?
Disappointed.
Angry.
Heartbroken.
I definitely feel that one.
Regret for the years I was on the wrong side.
Better late than never, man.
That's very meaningful to see where you are now then. I know that on the Trans Day Remembrance and which was the day after this happened, I felt very scared as someone that's very openly LGBTQ. And more and more so putting myself in the public eye of that. And And it was something I didn't know that I was fearful of until I was in it. But even those that aren't in the public eye or just are existing without necessarily doing events or things for the community, but just are existing as themselves, are in just as much danger sometimes for just being who they are. And that in itself is tragic.
Makes me feel committed.
I like that.
More committed to stand up and,
Gives me hope, what he said.
amen.
Me too.
Gives me hope.
Does anyone have any stories or feelings or prayers or concerns to share? Small group. Welcome.
I do want to say that being an old queer, that never in my lifetime did I think that we would see what happens in Stonewall. Never in my lifetime did I think that we would see same-sex, same-gender unions. Never did I think that we would see what we see now. So that is my hope, that even though this is happening, it's my hope that it will continue. And that's what I look at, that there is still hope. Because things have happened, things have gotten to where we are today, and we just gotta keep working at it.
We remember the hardships, but we also remember how far we've come. If no one else has anything, I'll hand it off to Bodie.
And as we close today, may we be attentive and gentle towards our own suffering and those discomfort and suffering of others. May we move towards others freely and with openness. May we receive others with sympathy and understanding. May we move towards the suffering of others with peaceful and attentive confidence. May each of us continually cultivate the ground of peace for ourselves and others and persist mindful and dedicated to this work, independent of results. May we know that our peace and the world's peace are not separate, that our peace in the world is a result of our own work for justice. And may we offer this merit of this vigil to the benefit of all beings.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you to whoever's watching online. And also this is a live cast on Facebook, so the video is available after the fact for folks that just couldn't hook up at this particular time. Be careful going home. And this is, let this be also a beginning to form a community, to form new friendships, new allyships, and let us learn how to be together and be there for each other. And that's it. We're dismissed. Thank you all very much.